is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Sadly, we have no Steven Simcox on Wednesday or Thursday this week because yesterday he was getting his AC fixed. Today he's on kid duty. And he said, we'd have 4 kids in the studio, and they're of varying ages. There's some older ones that would probably just chill, but there's a couple of tots in there.
Yeah, they get loose, definitely.
We get 2 days of Garrett this week, which I don't think is bad. I'm just saying that in case you're wondering, there's no wheel today. That's Steven's thing. We like to keep people's thing their thing.
It should be. It should be.
I'm not gonna cheat on someone else with the wheel. Like that's improper.
It is.
Rude.
That was all Sim. Was that Simmy's idea or was that yours?
It was my idea, but because I bought the wheel, but I kind of, when I was working out the plan, like it wasn't a Pierre thing. It's not a Royden thing. It's very much a Simmy thing.
It's definitely Simmy.
It's definitely a Simmy thing. So today on the show, we're going to jump into some things. Also, I will, throughout the coming months, reveal what my future presidential platform is going to be. And if you want to know how I feel about taxes or immigration or anything like that, I think you'll be disappointed because we're not getting into that. I'm going to address, like yesterday, Buc-ee's level clean bathrooms and Japanese toilets across America. We're going to set a standard.
Yes.
We're going to set a standard of cleanliness, and that's how we're going to unite both sides of a very divided country. Today, I have another issue later in the show that I will discuss that I think will also unite a divided country. And it's something I think we can all agree on and something that I think that we all believe needs to be fixed.
I'm looking forward to this, actually.
Yeah. So, and you may say, Paul, that thing is so frivolous and stupid. But I promise you, if it were fixed, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, if it were fixed, all of our lives would be better.
It's the small things that truly matter.
Yeah.
Like it's all the small things that add up at the end of the day. I get in trouble for that all the time at the house.
Yeah, exactly.
I know how
it's
it goes.
Little things.
It's little things.
Since being married for a year plus now, about to cross my 13th month in 13 days of being married.
Damn, I didn't realize it was that long.
14th month.
Yeah.
So it's been over a year, right? We celebrated our anniversary in Palm Springs back in June. It's now July, so almost 14 months now of being married. I have found out that you can walk into a room of which you have done nothing, said nothing, and more than likely because you're a man, thought nothing, and be in trouble.
Yes. I was in trouble this morning because I wasn't compassionate enough.
Yeah, but you weren't trying not to be compassionate.
I just see things differently.
Yeah, but you didn't. You have to like find where it was. Like, and then sometimes you see things differently. The challenge is not to say that.
It's very challenging.
Because you're like, I promise you there are 10 times a month where my instinct is, who cares? But I have to have like, the mental discipline to go, oh, I'm sorry. Like those things. And I will tell you this. I have never, with Amanda, I've never given her a problem. To her credit, I've never given her a thing I'm stressed out about. And she said that out loud where I have. I'm betting Anna has probably never done the same thing, and you guys have been married a very long time.
18 years, yeah.
Yeah.
No, man, it's usually me. It's usually me.
So that's one thing that women can do that men can't. But it is also, I think that's the skill, right?
Yeah.
Like God gave us that skill. He gave them another one. Right. Our skill is who cares. Their skill is, no, we care about every single thing. And then somewhere in the middle is how we're supposed to make it work.
Yeah, it doesn't jive.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, welcome into all of those in the chat. And we are going to dive right into football today. A couple things to talk about. Heather Dinich wrote a column on ESPN.com. We're going to get into about 30 teams that could make the college football playoff. Garrett and we're probably going to not go through all 30 because I think that would take way too long.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to rattle through. I think maybe I'll rattle through the ones I'll just tell you won't.
I think that's an easy way to do it.
We'll just rattle through, and then you and I can get into the ones that could.
Right.
And then there's a ton of transfer quarterbacks. We're going to talk about them a little bit. Nick Bromberg wrote an article on Yahoo, and we're going to kind of go through the guys who are hits and misses. Mm-hmm. And I have a little bit of insight on DeQuan Finn at Baylor and where they were in the spring. I'm very curious as practice starts today for the Bears, where that ends up, and we'll talk about that in the second segment. And I know the one that everybody's looking forward to is my big presidential platform reveal.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Emory would be down with this. I think we need to shoot some commercials where I'm like bullshitting on a farm, like they do, like somebody oh, this is me putting up a fence. I'm one of you kind of a thing. And you're like those, like that actually, I'll just tell you this. In my presidential reign, if it was ever true, I'd be like, listen, here are what political commercials are. You get up and you have your 30 seconds and you say, this is what I think your tax rate should be. And you put that graphic on the screen. That's all you have to say.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. You're not going to be like, my opponent did. No. You talk about you.
Yeah.
You talk about you.
Gas yourself up because I don't need to hear about everybody else.
Yeah, look, I know that you think he sucks. I'm well aware. You wouldn't be running, if you thought he was awesome, you wouldn't be running against him.
Yeah.
Like Garrett, if you and I were running for office and I was like, Garrett's pretty damn awesome, I don't think I'm going to run. I think he'd do a better job than me.
I mean,
that's not the
ego,
point, right?
Like, but that's the thing. It's like a lot of people in that scenario, like you got to check your ego, especially in those situations.
Yeah. But so that's why, I don't need to know that you think that this guy sucks.
Yeah.
I don't need to know that you like. The fact that you guys are running for the same job leads me to believe that you both think each other sucks.
Right.
And that you would do a better job. I don't need to know why you think he sucks. I don't. That's a waste of air. I need to know why you're good.
Yep.
Your interview, when I go into a job interview in my life, and it's been a long time since I've had one in earnest, and not because I've had this job for a long time. I didn't really interview for it. It was just kind of do you want to do it?
Right.
I have new things I'm doing we're partnered with Rogue Media now. That wasn't really an interview process. It was more just a plan of how to merge these two things together, right? So I haven't been on a job interview since Tom Barfield interviewed me for my first radio job. I did in San Antonio. I interviewed in San Antonio. So it's been 4 years.
That was COVID. That was prior to COVID,
right. Literally,
right at COVID.
The day zero.
Yeah.
When that was right before day zero. If it was the zombie movie, it was day zero. That would have been the flashback scene of me sitting in an office in San Antonio at a radio station. That would have been. So when I'm going for a job interview, I'm not I don't walk in the room and be like, you know why you shouldn't hire Ricky? He sucks. I'm here's why you should hire Paul.
Right.
We're not talking about Ricky. I don't even want you to think about, as a matter of fact, I don't even want you to think about Ricky.
Yeah, it's centrally focused.
I want Ricky to walk in the door and be like, oh, shit, Ricky's here. All right, I guess we got to do this one. Blah, 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 blah. We're hiring Paul. That's what I want. I don't want you to think about him at all. I want him to go in already handicapped because I didn't even mention his name.
Yep.
I didn't even talk about it. And even they said well, what do you think about Ricky? I'd be like, who's Ricky?
Yeah.
That's what I would do. That's how I would approach things. By the way, football. We have football tonight, the Hall of Fame game.
I did not even notice that. I didn't realize that until yesterday when we had John McClain on.
Yeah.
And y'all started talking about it. I was like, what the hell? The Hall of Fame game's already. And then I guess Saturday would be the induction.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
If you're a football fan and you've not been to the induction ceremony, you've got to find a way to go.
I want to go to Canton so bad. I want to go see I also want to go to Atlanta.
What's cool about it? And of course, they've built out a whole lot of other stuff in the 7 years since I've been there. And actually, they announced it when we were there, all the ththings they were going to do, build it out and improve the stadium and all these different things that they're doing, which I'm not sure they're completely done with because it was a 5-10 year plan of this is going to be here then, or this will be done and this will be done. But The museum itself, like a lot of museums are kind of overwhelming in, can I get to everything?
Right, yeah.
It's really well set up and where you like walk in a room, you see all the busts and, you can get through them pretty quickly. And then you go into other rooms and you see that like it's really, really cool. It's really great. The induction ceremony is really cool. I couldn't care less about a preseason game. I mean, the Cowboys were playing in it when we were there, and Q and I just went off and watched it. I was so exhausted. We had a flight delay and like barely got into the. It was one of those things. Well, you were producing the show. I literally like plugged in the thing and told you, and you're like, Paul, it's 2:42.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I know that, Garrett. I'm well aware, man.
Hey, I'm just trying to let you know.
I know. We had to park so far away.
Oh my God.
They didn't want to hear it.
I've actually, though, one thing I've noticed over the past couple of years for me is I've been more intrigued by the preseason games than years past, just because I like seeing the guys that I guess because I've followed more teams in college.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You're more familiar with the players. Well, that's how I perceived. I'm more familiar with the players across the board, so I want to see what the young guys have to offer and what they could potentially challenge. Most of them aren't going to make the roster, or they're not going to steal a spot, but you want to see if they can legitimately make a team.
I'm genuinely curious. Like that's why I follow tangentially. Not like I'm not sitting down watching CFL or UFL games.
Oh no.
But like if there's people I know or I'm interested in, I'm going to check a box score. I'm going to look up some highlights. I'm going to look up some things. That's what I do in the preseason too, where I'm going to follow along. I'm going to follow the stories. I'm not going to sit down and watch the Packers versus the Saints. In the preseason because nobody's going to play. But if there's a couple players I've followed in college, because we do college football most of the time, I do that. That's where I really enjoy it. So. Canton, Ohio rocks us from Chris Cobb. Been there many times, but haven't been to a game there. I've not been to. I've been in the stadium because that's where they do the ceremony. But I didn't go to the game. I could have. I was just not interested in it. I remember the Cowboys people going, "You going to the game tonight?" I'm like, "Do I look like I'm going to the game? Like, look how tired we are. We had a flight delay. By the time I get to the car, the game will have ended."
Yeah.
Anyway, plus we had to drive. We were like an hour outside of Canton where we had to stay because our owner like slow played us on going.
Imagine that.
Well, yeah, he really slow played us on going, and then he's like, "Okay, you can go." And we're like, "We've had the sponsors for a month. Like, okay, you can book the hotel." Well, the only hotel I could get was in Carrollton, Ohio, and if you've ever been to Carrollton, Ohio, you are on the run from the law. No.
Is it up there with Bowling Green? I've heard your Bowling Green takes.
It's just a small. Like Bowling Green. Bowling Green's just depressing. Carrollton's not depressing. It's just a small. Like it's a little bit more than a 1-stoplight town, but it's no more than a 3-stoplight town.
Kind of like a McGregor or something.
Yeah, it's just like it's small. There's nothing there. Yeah. Like they've got that. It's so it just like if you were staying in a hotel there, you're like You're trying to go on the back roads because the mob's after you or something.
You're like mud.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So let's dive into this college football playoff possibilities, Garrett. So I'll start at the bottom with the teams that are, that she listed that have a shot. Texas Tech is 30th.
No.
I don't think they no. I mean, I think they're going to be good. I don't think they're going to be playoff good. Everything, nothing can go wrong for them.
No.
I mean, not one thing can go wrong.
I think for me, I really bought into them last year. And I think they're going to be better. Obviously, you got to keep your quarterback healthy. That's been their biggest issue. And then being able to win consistently away from Lubbock because they can hold it down. It's not a problem at Jones Stadium, but they're going to be good. I think they can shake things up in the Big 12, but they're not playoff contenders.
She has Utah at 29th. I have Utah way higher than that. I think Utah.
Yeah, there's a few on here. I'm kind of like, what?
Yeah. Oklahoma State, I don't think is going to make the playoff. USC, I don't think is going to make the playoff. Auburn's not going to make the playoff. NC State is going to ruin, they're going to ruin one of those ACC teams' chances of making the playoff, but they're not going to be quite that good, but they're going to, maybe two of them. I mean, they're going to be that. UTSA, they have as good a chance. UTSA has as good a chance as anybody in the group of five. to make it.
Them, Memphis, and Boise, I think were your top three.
And
USF too.
App State,
there's a few
USF,
of them.
yeah. Arizona probably not going to make the playoff, but will be really good. Boise State, again,
Possible.
yeah. SMU. I think they might here's the thing. They could wind up in the ACC title game because they don't really have that tough of a schedule. So, and they're a good team. And I'm not dogging their schedule. Their schedule that they made. I mean, they play TCU. That's a hard enough conference.
We went over it yesterday. They're not playing Florida. Or they're playing Florida State, but that's it out of the big three.
Yeah. So they've got, in the ACC, so they don't have to worry about a lot of that, right? So
I think it would be cool to see SMU, especially in the first go run of this, but I'm not sold yet.
I do think that they're going to be a regular contender in the ACC, though. I think they are. Miami, she's got it 20th. I put them a little bit higher than 20th to make that. Again, their schedule,
they play Florida. They play Florida A&M, South Florida, and Florida State. So that's all in-state schools. They're all outside of Florida A&M. I mean, it's kind of toss-ups with those.
Yeah. So I think that, and again, they've got to win all those games to make the playoff.
Their toughest in-conference game, it's looking like at Louisville, which we still don't know really what Louisville's going to be this year.
Florida State they have at home, so that one might not be but still, I think probably their toughest game. Louisville, we'll see. She's got them ranked right above. If Tyler Shuck plays, they're probably going to be really good, but he's never made it through a season healthy.
At this point, I can't trust him. We've seen this too many times from these guys. And Tanner Mordecai was one of them. Tanner was good, but he could never stay truly healthy consistently. Yeah. And that's kind of what you see with Shuck, but Shuck's been even more damaged goods throughout the process.
Yeah. She is Ole Miss at 18th. I think I have Ole Miss in my playoff. I had them in.
They should be.
Yeah.
I mean, we've said it numerous times. This, if you can't do it now, I don't know when you're going to be able to do it. And I think you brought up a good point because I've been one of the people who've been caught up in the depth issues. But after kind of hearing what they did through the JUCO, right? Because that gets lost in the shuffle, man. You don't ever hear about JUCO now with NIL and transfer portal. So I think that there is some substance to that.
Actually, I asked Dave Aranda about it the other day, and he said he thinks the JUCO is maybe going to make a little bit of a comeback because the portal has been so the faucet's either totally on or totally off, and then you've got these JUCO kids that are all pretty good, especially for depth pieces.
But see, you also have a whole group of high school kids who didn't get properly recruited, through a couple of cycles, who probably have D1 talent. Well, we've always known there's been D1 talent at JUCOs, mostly SAT issues and stuff. But if you're not having roster spots because everybody's bulked up these rosters because of these 5- and 6-year players, there's probably a ton of talent in the JUCO
There's a
ranks.
million reasons you wind up at a JUCO. There really are. There's a million reasons individually. Now you can clump a large group of them into super talented guys who are also super well versed in the art of dumbassery. They just do dumbass things and need to maybe learn how to be an adult for a little while in a setting that's easier for them to do that.
Yeah, sometimes you need to go to a smaller environment.
Yeah, you go to a JUCO, it sets expectations, but it doesn't set them on you in a pace that you can't handle. And if you can't handle JUCO, you can't handle anything else. Some people need to and again, you grew up in a different environment. You grew up this is all, sometimes guys are really, really talented athletes and they get coddled and then, reality hits them and, not to say that athletes don't get coddled and believe me, they get coddled in certain ways, but also because there's so much money on the line, you producer, you go. That's just how it is now. And, I think what Lane Kiffin has done through the JUCO is being very underlooked when it comes to an overall team depth and an ability to withstand injuries. You're going to lose a star here and there. It's not going to be able to play for a couple weeks.
Right.
Can you get by and maybe a game that you would have won by 17 points, you win by 8? Because you don't have this X factor guy there.
Like Bama last year against South.
Yeah. But can you get by without a star for a couple weeks. That's what true depth is. Now, anybody who loses their big players for a whole season, I mean, there's nobody that really overcomes it that much. Like, all the stories that you think of, like, you could probably think of 5 to 10, but there's 150 college football seasons that we're talking about at this point, or 120, that it just... This team was national championship caliber. They lost their starting quarterback, their best wide receiver, 2 offensive linemen, their best defensive player all got hurt the wrong time. They lost 3 games, and they weren't really, they couldn't hope because nobody can.
No.
The talent is a finite resource. It's not, even for great teams. Like, there are teams that are, maybe this far below you. You have those guys that are out. They win the game, and you're out of the thing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, moving on. A&M at 17th, I would put them behind Utah. I'd put them more.
I would definitely put them.
I would put them in the 20s. I think they have a shot to make it for sure. But again, much like Tech, everything has to go perfect for A&M, and unfortunately for A&M. And this is Mike Elko's first year, so he hasn't gotten to. Well, he has gotten to experience this when he was an assistant coach.
Yeah.
Nothing ever does.
No.
There's always bad news around the corner. Given as long as it's been since they've won a national title, which was 1939, we weren't in World War II yet.
No.
We were 2 years out of Pearl Harbor. We were still deciding if we wanted to get involved in that. And that's when they won the national title. I would say that if there's a team, and you can argue this with me, that's won a national title and had really good teams, because they've had some teams that are really, really good. R.C. Slocum had some teams that were fantastic. Like the Johnny Manziel team was fantastic, but they still had the couple of losses. I mean, it's fantastic. Jimbo had a team that was like bordering on like maybe and then he just got too stuck in the mud. Everybody, like Mike Sherman has had a couple teams that look like, oh, well, next year things are going to look like you're going to turn, and then they just stay on the same road. I would say they're the closest to the Red Sox or Cubs of like long cursed teams that have good seasons and then get to the key point in the year where they need to do something and then don't get it done.
I mean, they're up there.
Oklahoma
State. I think
Oklahoma
State's like that.
Yeah, Oklahoma State. Like, there's some teams like we might need to talk about this next week.
That's an interesting top 5.
Like, who are the cursed teams?
Yeah.
And when I'm talking about cursed, I'm not talking about Oregon, who, for all intents and purposes, is a Johnny-come-lately. Like, they're new to this. I'm talking about a team that has a national title in the Great Depression or something like that, has all this, and then hasn't done anything since then. Like the Red Sox didn't win for 86 years, and the Cubs didn't win for almost 100, like however long that was, the curse of the Billy Goat. Like those kind of things, like where is it? Because it's been so long. And there's some teams in there you have to take out because they're not trying as hard or things are different.
Minnesota.
Minnesota would be an interesting discussion because I think they're the only ones who've ever won 3, right? Yeah. But it was so long ago. But Army's a different thing,
Yeah, that's different.
Like, when Harvard or whoever won a title, that's a completely different thing. I'm talking about a program that for its entire existence has been trying to win one and only did it in 1939. Bear Bryant was there and had the Heisman Trophy winner, and they didn't win it in 1957. Nope. And they got close, and then he left and went to Alabama and became, one of the the greatest coach of all time, for a while till Nick Saban. Yeah, like so, those. I wonder. Let me go to the chat and see if anybody has a.
I'm just trying to think. Like when you said that, Oklahoma State immediately popped into my head.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. Like that's a good. I have to sit down.
Like
on
who
that
are
one.
the cursed? Because there's not really that many.
No.
TCU might be in there, right? And they've gotten close.
Yeah.
Look, here's the thing. TCU won back in the day, right? Then Doak Walk, they were great, one of the best teams. They finally get back to where they're in the national championship game, and they lose 65-7.
Yeah.
Like, that's a little bit of...
Did Syracuse win one with Jim Brown or with
Ernie Davis?
Ernie Davis. They could be in the mid. I can't remember if they won one or not. But those are that's a good exercise to look into, though.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that. We'll talk about it. I'll talk about this next week. The cursed teams.
Yeah.
Like, who's really cursed?
Yeah.
And what is the reason for the curse?
Yeah, I like that.
And because you look at some teams, that haven't won one, but they haven't been trying for as long. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about teams that have been trying
legitimately
for
going in.
Since Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Yeah.
When the last time they, their season winner, like, they won a national title and then they lost a bunch of guys to Korea, so they couldn't do the next, like, those kind of things. That's what I'm curious about. So you had a national title, you're a great program then, but
what happened?
But what happened? There's really no one in the SEC that fits
That's what I was
mold.
trying to think. Georgia Tech, maybe?
Georgia Tech won in the 90s.
And I was
so that's not even that long.
Man, that's a hell of an exercise.
If a Georgia Tech fan and an A&M fan and a Minnesota fan and an Oklahoma State fan were talking about how long it's been, like, A&M's like, oh, yeah, man, there weren't even televisions when we last won. And Georgia Tech's like, oh yeah, we were in season 4 of Cheers. So I don't think that they count.
God.
They don't count in that.
Let's see.
Then he were in the 16. Look, Kansas State.
Why is Kansas State at 16 and Utah's at 29?
Yeah, that doesn't jive with me.
That does not compute to
Again,
me.
you should flip A&M and Utah. Easily flip A&M and Utah. Kansas at 15, I would actually have Kansas State ahead of them. Yeah, I would have Kansas State ahead of them. LSU at 14, I actually have them a little bit lower.
Yes.
Although I think they could. I mean, again, they could.
LSU should be at like 18. I think you nailed it with I really think you got them.
18, yeah. Clemson at 13. Okay, I'll stick with, like, they're in that range.
They could make it.
Yeah, they could make it. Early part of the season is really tough for them. Michigan at 12. Their defense is legit. FSU at 11. I think they're like. I think they're
on them, dude.
I think they're going to make it. I think they're going to win the ACC. I think they're going to be 10-2 and win the ACC. But I think they're going to win the ACC.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I don't know about DJU. Like, I just think that Florida State was so talented last year, man. Like, the receivers. Yeah. I don't know how you replace that. I think you're going to see a team that runs
a little bit more. I think you're going to see a team that their offensive line is really, really good. I think that's what the difference is going to be. And one of the things that DJU did not have at Clemson was the offensive line was dipping down. And that's why he's lost his juice on the fronts. That's why they're a 9-3 team but not a 12-0 team right now.
Yeah.
That's what's happened to Clemson. That's what's changed. Is the fronts, and then the skill positions will probably work themselves out. In that, like, you can, like, skill guys are easier to get than linemen, but
as far as defense,
he doesn't get the X factor guys when he can.
As far as Florida State's defense, like, when you lose Trask and you lose Verse, like, do they have the dudes to back that up?
Yeah, I mean, Joshua Farmer's back. Johnson's back, the guy that they, was one of the victims of the NCAA's, like, arbitrary, we've changed the rule. It's retroactive to after you already thought you could do this, which I don't know how they thought they could win that in court and be like, how can somebody get in under a deadline and then you retroactively do things? Daryl Jackson's his name. Daryl Jackson, I'm sorry. Daryl Jackson, transfer from Miami, really good. Marvin Jones Jr., I think, is going to be excellent in Adam Fuller's defense. Is he going to be Jared Verse? No, they got Patrick Payton back. He's really good. So, yeah, they've lost a couple of studs. And they've lost two really good cornerbacks in Jerrion Jones and Ronaldo Green. But Fentrell Cypress, Azaria Thomas played a ton last year. I think that, again, I think they are, and I also think they have the best, and I know I'm biased, but they have the best coach in the ACC right now. Right now, not Dabo's still a great coach, but the guy who is
Mike Norvell's actually adapted. I'll give you that.
The best coach,
I'll give you
the
that.
best coach in my mind, year to year is a changing thing. Next year it might be Mario Cristobal for all we know. It could be Dave Doran. It could be
Rhett Lashley.
It could be Rhett Lashley. The best coach year to year is just like the best team year to year. But right now, the guy who I think is hitting, checking all the boxes and hitting everything is Mike Norvell in that league. There's other guys doing Dabo's probably the second or third best any given year just because he's such a great coach, but because he's refusing to go to certain areas.
Yeah, he's hindering himself.
He's hamstringing himself. And then look, Oklahoma at 10th, I would put them way lower.
How are they? I don't understand how they're above Ole Miss.
Yeah, I know.
I understand brand-wise, year-to-year tradition, but if you just look on paper, what they have, you should at least flip them in Ole Miss.
All right, do you know what would be the worst year for Texas ever? First year in the ACC, lose to Oklahoma, lose to A&M. Find yourself outside the playoff.
That would be disastrous. There's no way that could happen. No way that's happening.
I think that game on November 30th.
A&M Texas?
Yeah, throw it out the window. Throw whatever you think out the window.
Yeah.
The atmosphere is going to be
That's going to get
nuts, which is what you have with Oklahoma, Texas any year. Whatever you think you know before the game started only really applies a little bit. Mm-hmm. It doesn't apply. It's like one of those things that happens in spots because there's so much emotion. Tennessee at 9 would have them a little bit lower, but Missouri at 8.
I think that's fair.
Alabama at 7 is fair. Notre Dame at 6 is very fair. I did not have Notre Dame in my playoff, and here's why. I think they've got a couple of landmines on that schedule that could get them and keep them out.
They do. And
they have to be if they're 10-2 or better, they're in. I still think that they might be 9-3.
I just don't ever trust Notre Dame.
Yeah.
They always find themselves in position, or they get the right pieces in place, and it's okay, we can do this, we can get over the hump, and they just find a way to never do it. I think it's probably parallel when you're looking at Riley Leonard and Sam Hartman there. Now, the difference is going to be
I think Riley's
Leonard
better,
should have – well, he's better, but he's also in a position to have better playmakers help him out this year, whereas they had nobody outside last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Penn State at 5. I'd have them lower, but look, here's the thing, 10-2.
Yeah.
10-2. They make it.
They do. I honestly hope, and I'm gonna if West Virginia can ruin all this early on.
Yep.
West Virginia can ruin all that early on.
If they let's see.
Because I don't think they play.
They don't. They play Ohio State. So here's their toughest games. At West Virginia is going to be tough.
Yes. I'm taking them out.
At USC is going to be tough because of where that is, but I think they should win that game. But we don't even know what USC like. We don't know. USC. USC. I mean,
I'm going to find out first week.
Yeah, we'll find out. Yes. At Wisconsin could be interesting, but I don't. But
I don't trust Tyler Van Dyke.
Ohio State, they've got them at home. And then, Washington, who's just lost so many guys, we don't really even know what to think. Purdue, Minnesota, Maryland to close it out. So 10-2. If they win that first game, then 10-2 is well within the realm of possibility. And a 10-2 Penn State team is in.
Yeah, they should be.
A 10-2 Penn State team is in. And then her top 4 are Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, Georgia. Again, anything that would keep those teams from doing it. I ranked Ohio State as my number 1 team in the country for a reason, and it's because they have the best. Their roster is better than Georgia's. Mm-hmm. Player for player, better than Georgia's, especially since Georgia just dismissed Ray Thomas, one of their top wide receivers. Player for player, better than Georgia's. Now, you don't just do it player for player, coach for coach. Georgia has the best coaching staff.
I think Georgia got better quarterback, too.
And they have the better coaching staff. Yeah, so they have the better quarterback and the better coaching staff. But, there's no reason Ohio State should not, in my opinion, finish the season number 1. Georgia has far more opportunities to lose, in the season. or like Oregon and Ohio State, the class of the Big Ten this year,
Yeah.
I think Penn State will be like right there going like, oh, I wish it was us.
Yeah, them and Michigan will be like,
Yeah,
we're
right
here.
there. We're right there. Michigan, we just got to see what their offense is going to look like. Their defense is going to be
just
salty.
Ground and pound you like that.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to be able to do the things, people like to dog J.J. McCarthy. I don't get it. Like the dude.
It's just because he wasn't asked to throw. Like
I
we
mean-
never really but when he did, he was efficient, but he just didn't have to do it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And I don't know,
That's one of the things that people need to give this Michigan team credit for is they had a quarterback who's got a really good arm and is a really talented passer, and they just didn't have to.
No. Just hand the ball off and play solid defense. That's all they did.
They just didn't have
played
to.
old school football.
Yeah,
It just
was
beat
very
the hell out of
yeah.
people.
We're just gonna punch you in the mouth. So Allen says too many distractions at Georgia, and that might be a thing. That might be getting to that point.
It's going to have. I think honestly, it will catch up with them. I just don't know if. I don't necessarily think there are too many distractions. I think they're going to be able to. I think the depth talent will overcome the distractions this year for Georgia. Now, if things keep going and we keep seeing this, yeah, it's going to get off the rails within the next couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we'll see. He's got to rein that in. He should use this as an opportunity of like, okay,
I kind of think that's what he did. Like he kicked him off. Like you have to.
He needs to. Honestly, the next guy who gets a traffic violation
it's gotta
needs
go.
to be suspended from games. Like honestly, like okay, how many times like you did this after all this? Well, you're going to be the sacrificial lamb.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be suspended for 6 games. So we'll see. When we come back, new quarterbacks in new places. Which ones we think will do fine and which ones might be cooked. This is 365 Sports.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly. But if you're still tying your critical applications together on multiple shared public networks, you've probably been feeling the slowdown. And that's no good for business. A private UPN fiber network can get you and your business moving at the speed of light. Whatever you need, we can build it. Internet, Metro Ethernet, Waves, dark fiber. We deliver custom private networks and are focused on business customers only. Our next generation 100% fiber optic infrastructure offers you low latency and ultra scalable bandwidth with speeds up to 100 gigabit to run your critical applications. Your connection won't be limiting your performance anymore. It's diverse and scalable, so it can grow and change as your business grows and changes. And with a secure carrier-grade private network, you'll have all the reliability you need. Contact UPN today to learn more. Fast just got faster.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome back. Paul Catalina, Garrett Ross here today. So we've got a ton of transfer quarterbacks, a ton. And I'm going to go through this list that was compiled by Nick Bromberg of Yahoo Sports. And we'll start because I had some insight on DeQuan Finn at Baylor.
Okay.
So we didn't get to see them in spring game, but neither quarterback has had the best day when the other one's had the best day.
Yeah.
So, like, Sawyer Robinson would have a great day. DeQuan Finn would have a great day. So it is, right now, a legit competition. Now, ultimately, I think it's going to be DeQuan Finn.
I do, too.
Because you've got to play the guy with the least eligibility first. But I don't think it's bad news. I think it's just there's so much new that it'll probably click with both of them, and then I think they're set up well for the future. I honestly don't think Sawyer's going anywhere.
I don't
because
either. I think he
DeQuan
wants
Finn's
to
only
be
here
here.
for a year. I think if you see a couple quarterbacks this year, I think that's fine. But I do think that DeQuan Finn will be I mean, he was the MAC player of the year. I think he's one of those guys that when you get him in the game, he's going to show you the X factor that he has.
That too, and I don't necessarily think he's going to put up the numbers he put up at Toledo just because the defense he's going to be going up against are a lot better. Also, like, we still don't know what this offensive line is going to look like. I fully have faith that they're going to be better than last year. I do.
Yeah.
But
how much
better? That's the question mark. And for me, you paid Daquan a hefty chunk of money. He's got 1 year left. Let him run. Let Sawyer stay here, be comfortable in this offense under Jake Spavital that actually fits his skill set. And you're stockpiling a ton of recruits and talent that are going to be at the receiver position for him to work with in the future. So I think you play it like that. I think both of them will have good seasons, but to me, Daquan's definitely got to be your starter.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go through. Let's go through. I'm just going to rattle off the ones I think will be fine.
Okay.
And like they'll be good. Dylan Gabriel gonna be probably a Heisman candidate.
This should probably be his best season to me because this is the best core group of playmakers. Like Oklahoma, he had some dudes. Don't get me wrong, Oklahoma had some, but they were
transitional as well.
Yeah,
like Oregon
this
is a roster right here. I think Will Howard will do fine at Ohio State. I don't think he's
sold on him, dude.
I don't think that he's what they want, but he's what they need right now.
I think with all the talent around him, he's definitely just kind of. This is to me like this is one of those old school Nick Saban rosters where you just throw AJ McCarron out there and be like, just don't wreck the car.
Yeah, and look, we've seen the guy. He's gritty. He's
good.
He's gritty. He has what they need. KJ Jefferson, I think, is going to be electric at UCF.
Ball out at UCF.
I think he's going to be electric in that offense. I think Riley Leonard, we just talked about him earlier. I think he's going to be fun to watch at Notre Dame. I think Grayson McCall at NC State is going to be super fun to watch.
I'll be interested to see how he handles that jump because I don't know why I'm interested to see if we understand, like if his play is why he stayed at Coastal as long as he did. Like if the transition is more difficult than.
I think DJU will be good at Florida. He's not going to be Jordan Travis good.
No.
But I think they're set up offensive line-wise where he's going to be able to do some things. They don't have Keon and Johnny Wilson. They don't have Jaheim Bell. But they've got guys who are all really good. So really talented athletically. You're just not going to see them have that, like,
big play.
Yeah, I mean, they lost 5 legit big play players. And that's where I think their offense will look less dynamic, but I think efficient. Yeah. I think you'll see an efficient offense from them this year. And then I think Cam Ward is going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be amazing. He only has to overcome the guys with the headsets, and I think that they've got to overcome themselves a little bit. But the question marks I have, like, Tyler Van Dyke is on his last legs.
Yeah, I'm not sold on Tyler.
Tyler Shuck is on his last legs.
Not sold on him.
Will Rogers.
I don't know,
I mean, if he's healthy, fine, but I don't know.
He threw a ton of interceptions last year.
Yeah. Chandler Morris at North Texas, we'll see.
He better. If you at this point with Chandler, and if you can't do it at North Texas, bro, like, come on.
Yeah. And Max Johnson at North Carolina.
I don't I think that's a significant downgrade from what North Carolina has had the past 2 or 3 years. Like if you're going from Sam Howell to Drake May, and now you're getting like Max Johnson, that's I don't know.
Now, here's the interesting group to me. Aiden Child, like these are the young guys who have not really been starters yet, but they are well thought of. Right. Or if they've been starters, they've moved on. Aiden Childs at Michigan State, Taylon Green at Arkansas, and there's a lot on his shoulders because he's probably in charge of Sam Pittman's job at this point. Jaden Mayava from UNLV going to USC, probably not going to be the starter. Miller Moss is, but he had a really good year last year. I think he probably should have stayed put. But look, if USC's offering and they've got an opening, maybe you should do it.
What about Malachi Nelson going to Boise? I think that could be.
Malachi Nelson at Boise fits that one.
You put him with Ashton Genty.
Yeah. Malik Murphy at Duke, I think will be interesting to watch. I think that's a good system for him. Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt. I think he's going to be a rascal. He's going to be one of those guys that, and like, I'm not saying Vanderbilt's going to compete in the SEC.
They usually scare some people, though.
But
they put 38 up on LSU a few years back.
All right, so I'll just throw out, I don't know if they're playing Mizzou or not. But, like, that's a team where Mizzou's going to be like, weren't we supposed to win this game by a lot more?
Yeah.
And, like, this, we can't do anything about this stupid guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, he's definitely an upgrade over Kenny Seals.
Oh, yeah. Like, significantly.
Yeah. He's going to be interesting to watch there. I'm kind of excited about that. Like, and I'm not excited about Vanderbilt football, but I think Vanderbilt's going to beat a couple teams this year because of Diego Pavia. That the teams are going to be like, are you kidding?
Yep. You're going to get somebody fired.
Yeah.
You're going to get somebody
Absolutely. fired. Absolutely. And then I think Blake Shapen in Jeff Lebby's offense is going to be interesting, but
who's he going to throw the ball to?
Yeah, that's true.
Like Shapen has an arm. He's got a cannon on him. He's very inconsistent. You're playing against better defenses week in and week out than you've seen in the past. Like what we get told. In that system, he could get loose. I'm just not sure. Kyle McCord at Syracuse is one I'm really intrigued on.
Yeah.
I think Kyle McCord kind of got a raw into the deal at Ohio State. And when you put him with Syracuse and that staff, it could be intriguing. I'm not saying they're going to be great or break out, but Syracuse is going to be a team to kind of watch this year just to see their development with that program.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, when we come back, do you want to take a break or let me just go right into it? Let's just go right into it.
Go to it.
Let's just go right into it. I told you I would announce another tenet of my presidential platform for Catalina 2028, or maybe Catalina 2032. I don't know how the funding's going to go.
Get your paper right, man.
That's a big part of it. You know, I don't know who my corporate overlord is going to be.
Sell your soul.
Look, I'm already taking on big toilet paper, so we know that the Charmin people are going to be against me. What's it like? Charmin's going to be against me.
Charmin, Angel Soft, Scott.
Scott. They're going to put a lot of money into my opponent. Who's going to say ridiculous things about we're not French or something like that. Like, no. We're going to do this. Big Paper's going to be mad at me for this one. I think we need new standard in chip bags.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
There are too many broken chips in a chip bag.
They need to put more chips in them first.
Yeah.
So half a air.
Yeah. Also, have you ever bought a bag of bagel chips? Have you ever gotten a full bagel chip in that bag? No. There is no such thing as a full bagel chip. It will be cracked. They are fragile. Yet the bags that contain said bagel chips are just regular bags. There's no reinforcement on the bagel chips. So you're just buying, and you have no way to look. You're just buying a bag of bagel crumbs. So then you have to either throw them away or look on Instagram for some guy who's like, bro, I did this bagel chip crusted chicken. It's unbelievable. And the air fryer only takes you 20 minutes. That's what you have to do. So as you know, I'm a big Pringles fan.
I love Pringles.
Yeah. Pringles.
They got it right.
Yeah. Pringles got it right. I'm going to put the Bucky standard on bathrooms. I am putting the Pringles standard on the chip and cracker industry. We are going to reduce chip crumbs, cracker crumbs, bagel chip destruction by 35% in my first term, and by 2050 by 80%. That's my goal, is that you're going to get whole chips and not crumbs. The only reason you would get crumbs is if you decide to make them yourself.
I appreciate that.
That's what, look, again, the right, the left, the middle, we can all agree that if I open a bag of Doritos, I want whole Doritos.
Yes.
If I go to the store to get a bag of tortilla chips for chips and salsa, I would like those chips to be complete. The other thing I'm going to do is, for tortilla chips, you're going to have a grading system dip-wise. If you're one of these thin little chips that can't handle queso, you need to say, probably not great for queso. Like, this is not queso grated. This is a light salsa grated. But if you have like the top one, like a good sturdy chip, queso grated, chunky salsa grated, nacho grated, like those things, we're going to have standards for the chip industry. I am tired of opening cracked bags of chips.
So would everything go to like the Pringle canister style and just change the circumference or whatever? Or are we looking at like going pretzels in the
box?
The box or
look, I'm open to innovation. If one thing a Catalina administration will have, we are open to innovation.
Okay.
One of the greatest things we've ever done in the history of mankind is we put a man on the moon. And putting a man on the moon was the goal, but to get the man on the moon there, we had to create things to make it right. Then we've taken things from that and we've put them into modern life. I want that kind of thing for chip bags. I am telling you, NASA needs to be involved in this. They're very heavily involved in this. We will send our chip bags and cracker containers into space. On the International Space Station. We'll let them float into heavy things.
It's all of the satellites.
Yes, like that's what we will do. I want working man. I have no upper teeth, so I put chips in my mouth and dissolve.
My man. Okay. Dude, thank you for getting innovative. I appreciate that.
There we go. But, so maybe chip crumbs are good for him. But again, I would like to have the choice. I'm all about you having the choice to have a full chip or a broken chip, but you can't have the choice of a full chip if it's already broken.
No. That's the worst. Is like especially if you have some salsa left, like you were saying, and you go down to that bed, it's just all crumb. That makes me so mad.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Okay. So let's just say we're going to sit down and we're going to pass the budget, and I hand out like the bathrooms are gloriously clean. Okay. Everybody's gotten to use the bathrooms. The soap is good. Also, water pressure in those bathrooms for the automatic sinks will be higher.
It needs to
be higher. It won't be this little dribble thing. I'm fine with the automatic sinks. You're trying to save money on your water bill. Resources cost things, but it will be higher. And again, with an attendant there all the time and cleaning the bathrooms, you'll never be out of paper towels. That's another thing.
That is another
one. We want to do. Here's where I'm going to guarantee some good news for the toilet paper people. That budget going to go right to paper towels. We're going to support you in paper towels. But you're going to sit down, and this is just 2 tenets of my platform. You're going to sit down, and then I'm going to give you all, snack-sized bags of chips that are filled to the brim with full chips.
I remember those days.
Full chips. You're going to take out your Cool Ranch Dorito, and the first one's going to be great, and the 30th one is going to be great. And there's going to be like 3 little crumbs in the bottom. That's what I promise you. Science can do it. Science can do it. They've just decided not to. And it's at the cost of the consumer.
Well, somebody probably bought their patent and said you're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah. I am not putting up with it anymore.
You shouldn't. I'm tired of it. I think we're all tired of it. For real though, like it really pisses me off. Like go to the store, grab a bag of chips, look at the price now, which is like $6 freaking, and it's half air, or it's just crumbled.
Yes,
it is nauseating.
We are going to hold these big chip. We're holding them to the fire.
Coming at you, Lays.
Yeah, and guess what? Big Cookie, don't think you're out of this. All right, we're coming for you too. Your packaging is better.
It really is.
Like Oreo, like you ever see a package full of broken Oreos?
Man, no. Like if you get a bad one, you might have a couple and they're just cracked, but they're not like falling apart.
Exactly. Now look, that might be whatever chemicals they make Oreos out
Probably.
of. That make them a little stronger.
They taste good.
But look, you dunk that thing in the milk, you disinfect.
I'm not doing milk. I am not Oreos and milk. I'm an Oreos and tea guy. I know that sounds weird. You give me sweet tea and Oreos.
Do you dip it?
No.
Oh.
I just pop the thing and pop the Oreo in your mouth, get a drink of tea, and do like working man and let it dissolve.
Oh.
It's fantastic.
Emery, milk with Oreos? Are you milk with Oreos?
He's against Buc-ee's. I don't. His
he is against Buc-ee's. We've got to work on him a little bit.
His opinion don't matter.
Yeah, we can't We've got to work on him. You know what? He's not really against Buc-ee's. He's just impatient.
Yeah, but he had some good slander though.
Good things take time, and Buc-ee's doesn't really that long. He feels like it's too hard to find a gas pump, which I disagree with. It's just hard to navigate the parking lot because Buc-ee's is a place for everybody. It's a place for the smart, it's a place for the medium, and it's certainly a place for the stupid. Mm-hmm. And you cannot go there without encountering the stupid.
No, but I mean, that's the cool thing is, though, you go into Buc-ee's, it's an actual melting pot.
It's an actual melting pot. America.
It is.
Buc-ee's is America.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm telling you right now, we're taking on Big Snack. And we're going to get them. That's a big thing for me. And, if I'm on the debate stage and somebody says, well, all right, well, what are you going to do about Putin? I mean, listen, the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to get along and we're all going to come to a better idea about Putin because you're going to have a full-size Lay's potato chip that you just jumped into some French onion dip and you're pretty damn happy. That's what I'm saying,
man. Just some chips. It'll bring us all together.
Look, Ruffles with French onion dip is a great thing. But if you buy the big bag of Ruffles for a party and you have your big thing of French onion dip and only a third of the bag is really dippable, then what have you even done?
What just
what has
money?
Happened? I promise to hold them accountable for that. They need better packaging.
They do.
They have cheaped out. Look, they've raised the prices and not the quality of the bag.
Of everything.
If you're going to raise the prices, the quality of the bag has to go up. I'm done paying for some fat cat's island.
Yes.
That's it.
I'm sick of it too.
Yeah. If I'm going to pay for your island, my chips better be up to standard.
Yes.
Okay?
That's all we're asking.
I can't take away your island. That ship has sailed. But I'm gonna put a dent in your bottom line, sir. Your workers are out there just throwing things in bags. They want quality. They're just there to make a living for their families. I'll be pro chip worker union. I'm all for it.
I think we take all of our chip bags and dump them out on their island and let them live with it.
Yeah, it'd be our Boston Tea Party.
Exactly.
All right, just fill them up with cracked Ruffles.
Just smack them with
just all over the place. Dumps chips all over the place, and they wonder there's gonna be birds. I mean, birds everywhere. They're like, oh my god, and not even the cool tropical birds. It's not gonna be like, oh look, here's a toucan. It's gonna be just pigeons.
Hold on, working man says I had a chip put in my left inner ear. What? I need to know what you're talking about,
I don't know,
buddy.
Look, working man, you like to party, and I dig it. Clearly.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna get there. I'll deal with the big problems when I get in office. I promise you, I will get people who know more than anybody does about those things because I don't.
Yep.
And I'll be like, okay, hey, guy who's done a lot of work on immigration,
handle it.
Just tell me what to do and how much it'll cost, and then I'll go work on that. And then, hey, but war guy, tell me what we need, and then we'll do that. And then, budget guy, let's do this. And don't listen to any of the, we're telling the Senate what to do because they work for the people.
Yeah.
As opposed to the other way around. So we're going to tell them, this is the best plan. So that's what we're going to do. So Alan says top 5 snacks.
So we don't have time for that, but right now, go. Your top 5 snacks.
My top 5 snacks, Pringles.
Okay.
I'm going to say this the candy's not in this, right?
I mean, it's a snack.
I'm going to throw candy. Candy's a different thing.
Okay.
Pringles. I love a cheese puff, a cheese ball, a cheese ball.
I like the old school Planters cheese balls.
Yeah, Planters cheese balls. Those things really good. Let's see. I love a good Cool Ranch Dorito.
Okay.
A Cool Ranch Dorito. I don't much care for Hostess or Little Debbie's. They taste.
I'm not doing that.
They taste really. They don't taste fresh to me that much. I won't say no to a Star Crunch, but that might be.
What is a Star Crunch?
It's the one that's got the little crispies on the outside. It's chocolate. Ooh, gosh. You know what? I love a Quaker chocolate chip granola bar.
I can respect
I love
that.
those things. Those are really, really good.
We need one more.
Gummy snacks, gummy bears.
Like gummy bears?
The gummy bears or gummy worms or, you know, other gummies.
Yeah.
You can only have,
now we're talking.
You can only have a couple of those, though. You can't, like, I learned that the hard way.
Don't, I've done 4. Don't do that. Don't do that. You don't want those problems.
I learned that the hard way in Vegas when I was like, hey, Emery, you want to try this strawberry gummy? He's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then instead of putting it back in the bag, I just went, oops. Believe me, walking through the Bellagio that night was like,
hell of a time.
Wow. There's a lot of bright lights in here. So, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Josh Quinton, his were hers. Cool Ranch Doritos, fudge rounds, pistachios, barbecue Pringles, and fruit roll-ups. Oh, wow.
Josh.
There we go.
My man.
All
I know
right.
you, JQ. Where you
All
been,
right.
bro?
Well, I've got votes from retired stockbroker and Alan. Like, okay, so that's 2. 40 million to go.
It's coming. We got it, dog. We got this.
Look, you can't get to 40 million without the first 2 people.
Yeah.
Not 2 million.
You got to
2.
start somewhere.
Yeah. You don't start counting at 39 million.
Nope.
You start counting at 1. So happy that I have some people on board, and hopefully we'll get the backing. Maybe there's somebody out there that's a rich container magnate that says this is finally the guy.
We're going to get it out. We're going to find them.
Yeah, absolutely. So today on the show, we've got Sam Kahn. We've got John Kurtz, Travis Hines, who covers the Iowa State Cyclones, Chris Level, and Craig Smokes off the radar. I guess Jack practice starts today, but it's not open. He's going. So I don't know. We don't know if Craig's going to practice or not. That's not been determined. So we might have off the radar. We might have had off the radar. I don't know. We'll see. But that's all coming up in an hour. We'll see you then. This is 365 Sports.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly.